Hello, everyone. We are literally down the I-10 for the second time in PHNX Coyotes history. We're here at the Doubletree Hotel next to the Tucson Arena. I'm Leah Merrill here with Craig Morgan and Steve Peters on the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. We got a bunch of listeners that are here around us. Charles is already in the comments. I'm literally looking at him right now. We got people.
Cody, the Coyote, is here, like all around us. There's Cody. Nick's got Cody on behind us.
We were encouraging photo bombs. There we go.
CWP over there.
Amazing.
That was a good turnout today.
Thank you. We encourage photo bombs. If you're still in the Tucson area, come down to the Doubletree Hotel. We just watched the Arizona Coyotes fall 3-2 to the Anaheim Ducks at Tucson Arena. The good news is, HK.
It's the preseason. Yeah, I was going to say, but like it's going to change in the regular season. Are we going to K then?
We're only going to K when they
Let's
win.
get to the preseason first. And by the way, we should point out that we're not just at the Doubletree. Naturally, knowing our vibe, we're sitting in the bar.
Yeah, big surprise.
Of course.
That's
and
how we roll.
Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you may see that we are all wearing the exact same shirt, and I would like this on the record. We did not plan this at all.
That's our story. That's how we're going with.
But sincerely, we did not.
That's our PHNX
That's kind of embarrassing, but that's all right. We had a great day in Tucson. Seriously, thank you to everyone who came up and said hi. We have such an amazing community here at PHNX. We're so grateful, and it was really great to be back in a hockey rink again after, I don't know, 5 months away now. What is it?
Yeah, I know. It's it's funny because the vibe we had here today was pretty cool. Like we talked about Cody, Coyote, and the PHNX stuff, and all that is cool. But to get hockey back on the ice, I think that was a big deal for all of us. You have a hard time in preseason. You don't get the score. You don't look at who beat who, because it really, honestly, it doesn't matter. You just want to see looking for individual performances, who has stepped up, who has made some transitions over the summer. I'm sorry, because it's only the second game.
Yeah,
so they've only practiced twice in a morning skate,
and two players in today's lineup played yesterday in Wichita.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And the coaching staff.
They don't know the systems.
Yeah.
They don't know the special teams. They haven't played with each other. A lot of these guys, in case they haven't played hockey recently. But just for you guys personally, I hope you enjoyed today's experience, because it's the last home game you're going to see for a while.
It's the last game in the state of Arizona for over a month. Can you believe that? They won't play in the state of Arizona for over a month. And their first and only home game in that month is in Tucson. No, the arena vibe was great. So that part was cool.
Amazing. The atmosphere was phenomenal. And I went to a preseason game when they played here like years ago, and the crowd wasn't nearly as full as it was today. That was an unreal turnout.
The Tucson Cowbells were there.
Yep.
So that was exciting. We didn't have Chuck-a-Puck today, though.
No.
We did not have Chuck-a-Puck.
Chuck-a-Puck. Kind of missed the Chuck-a-Puck.
It's a Tucson. It's a Roadrunners. We'll come back for a Roadrunners game.
We're going to have to, because there's not going to be any hockey in Arizona for a month. So we can come back down and watch the Roadrunners. Because they got to play a home game, right? Good Lord.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this game, because that's what we're here to do. This is a post-game show after all.
We're getting back in the swing of this.
I know, right? This is our preseason too, by the way.
Wow.
2 Coyotes goals today. Liam O'Brien, who scored and then had another scoring opportunity that was denied, that earned him a penalty shot, which was also denied, but Liam O'Brien noticeable. And then Christian Fischer, who not only had the assist on that Liam O'Brien goal, but he got on the score sheet as well.
And we'll hear from Christian Fischer.
We will.
Yeah, we will. And we got to talk to him before the game. And he was, those two were on a line together with McBain up the middle. I thought that line looked really good. And I tell you what, McBain, similar to what he did at the end of last season, he did a lot of the same things. He's a guy that got to the net hard. He was around the offensive chances. I know it's not gelling and they're not clicking yet, but it's early. I don't think you expect that, but it was good to see him driving the net hard. I thought that line actually had a little bit of chemistry. I mean, it's a little bit tougher, a little bit heavier line, but I thought they had a little chemistry.
Yeah, Bill Armstrong has been talking about him too. In fact, Bill Armstrong stopped by our booth at the arena and talked about some of the players. Oh, look who's here. Look who just wandered in. Why don't you just grab a seat, buddy? You can join the conversation.
grab a seat, but we'll
bring you in a seat, but you're not even in the shot yet, so you can just sit there and relax.
You can just sit and relax.
Sit and relax for a minute.
Our secret special guest.
Jack McBain just keeps showing up in a lot of little plays, right? Plays away from the puck. You have to watch those things as much as did he get on the score sheet. He's making a lot of smart plays. He's got the size, obviously. This is a guy that I think is impressing them and has a really good chance of making this roster. I don't know what you guys saw from him today, Petey. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, but you talked about the one thing, and that's what I'm going to say about this team in general is the size. I mean, McBain's ability to get to the net, I think that's going to be important. I think that's part of what his game is that size. But you look at even last night with Richie, and look at Bjugstad tonight. There's another big body, and you got Cassian that played in the lineup last night. I mean, it's starting to skew more to what Bill Armstrong said he was looking for in a team. He wanted to be tough to play against. Hey, I tell you what. Well, this isn't going to be fun rolling into Arizona and facing off against these guys. Like, this is a bigger, tougher team. We didn't even talk about the back end, but this is a bigger, tougher team than you saw a year ago. And McBain just adds to that. No, I don't expect him to drop the gloves and fight. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying he's a bigger body guy that can be tougher on the net. So the one thing I hope this Coyote team can do, and Bill Armstrong and Coach Tourigny both said it, is they want to be hard to play against. Well, we've all understand what the rebuild is, and you win or lose. It's not as important. Play hard. Play hard, play the right way, and start building those blocks to the future. So I tell you what, McBain's a guy that can do that, and I think, I tell you what, this is going to be a tough team.
Yeah. One other player that he talks about, too, Milos Kellerman, I don't know much about this guy at this point. Obviously, just came over. He was in Radim Verbata's club over in Czechia, but they really liked what he brought to the game yesterday, at least. It's tough to do back-to-backs, obviously, when you're learning the pro game. But I'm curious what he can bring to this lineup as well. But I don't want to spend too much time on this game. I know you have an ad read to get to, but more importantly, we have a guest that we want to bring in.
We do have a guest that we want to bring in. And before we do that, we did talk about Christian Fischer and how he was on the score sheet multiple times. And we did mention that we actually talked to Christian Fischer before today's game, caught him before. So let's hear from Coyotes forward Christian Fischer.
Here with Coyotes forward Christian Fischer. Christian, you only get 2 practices before you play a game. How hard is it to get back into game action with so little ice time?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously tough. Practices is kind of where you find your flow, start getting some chemistry. But I think if you ask any player, we'd probably want to hop into the games as quick as we can. I think once you kind of see a game pace, I think then you start practicing at game pace. You start being physical at game pace, things like that. So I'd say most guys are probably pretty happy to get the games going quickly, and then save the practices for later.
Yeah, and at the end of last season, it's actually February of last year, you get a lower body injury and you're out for the year. How are you feeling now? Did you recover? Are you ready to play?
Yeah, I'm 100% now. If anything, I mean, coming into the season, I think I've had kind of like a new meaning on life with the season with hockey. It's very exciting. I feel the best I've felt. I put a lot of good work in this summer in Arizona, and I'm looking forward to having a good year.
Well, you're one of the guys that we consider the core of this group. You've been here in Arizona for a long time, but there's a lot of new players coming in. You got Bjugstad, Cassian, we've got a couple of tryout guys. How is everybody fitting in? How do you do it so quickly in 2 or 3 days?
I think with our team, I think you hear it so much, is we have one of the best locker rooms, and I think that really does play a huge part into these new guys coming in and kind of coming in and meshing really quickly. I think you ask Buki or Chase, any of those guys, Brownie, they're all with us as if they've been with us for years and years. So I think if you make them comfortable off the ice, they get on ice and they play their game. They're NHL players. They're obviously, some guys trying to make the team, some guys trying to get more ice time, more roles. I think it all works out, but I think we're as close as we are off the ice. I think that helps so much on the ice, and I think it won't be that big of a transition.
What are the Coyotes fans going to see out of Christian Fischer this year? Where is your bar set? What can we expect for you going into the 22-23 season?
I think, for myself, this has got to be my highest year of production, and overall, we're over the threshold of learning to play in the NHL and stuff like that. I could play. Now I need to take that next step. I know I have it. I know I could score 20 goals. I know I could have a lot more points that I've shown in the past. My speed is really improved this summer. I've cut down some weight, so I think this is gonna be a good year for me, Petey.
We're gonna talk about cutting down the weight because we're at the TCC.
That is true.
And you've been here before, played here.
I have.
Have you had the opportunity, because the stand's right there, have you had the opportunity to have TCC mini donuts?
I have not, but I've heard Ravis things about, I think that's Ravenous, one of those words. My parents, when I was first year, they always talked about the goodies up top there. We could smell it on the ice, I could tell you that. So maybe post-game meal after and big 2 points tonight, eh?
Donuts are elite here. Wish you the best, Christian, both not just tonight, for the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you all along the way. Thanks.
Petey.
Well, thank you again to Christian Fischer for catching up with us before the game. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you may have noticed we have acquired a fourth member of this panel. Did not get the memo to wear the PHNX shirt, but that's okay. Tucson Roadrunners head coach Steve Potvin, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to the podcast.
I think I'm wearing it underneath. I should probably just take it off.
Exactly.
Oh,
I saw a lot of people were wearing them though, so that's kudos to you guys. It's great to see it.
I'm getting worried, though, that he's been on so much. He's either going to take my job or we're going to have to start getting him on our health insurance plan or something.
He's going to get the employee discount to the locker.
I guess.
I've got about, 15 years left to catch up to your status, so I've got a ways to go.
Well, that was good to hear from Christian Fischer. And it's a guy that, we've talked about this middle core of this Coyote team, and he's a part of that, with Keller and Schmaltz and Chikrin, and we'll get into that later in the week. We're not going to do that today. But Fisher's a big part of that. You know what he did today? He went out and played. And he wants to be a guy that not only contributes to the up and down, getting down the wing and being tough in the corners, he wants to provide offense. And it's something he has tried to do in his career, and he struggled a little bit to find the net. And I think today he gets 2 points. He gets a goal in the third period. You can tell he's working on it. And that's where he prides himself and he wants to be better offensively, and he wants to be somebody that you can count on. What have you seen from Christian Fischer early in this camp?
Yeah, just like you said, I think he wants to take that leadership role too, right? He provides a lot of energy. When he's out on the ice, you see him. He's effective on the forecheck. Tonight you saw him drive to the net, and he got rewarded. We saw that early in his career where he was getting a lot more rewarded for going to the blue paint. And, it's kind of gotten away from him a little bit, but it's really nice to see him get rewarded tonight. And honestly, just the energy that he brings both on and off the ice is really what Andre's going to be leaning on him for.
He obviously spent some time here down in Tucson. And like you mentioned, he had the 15-goal season his rookie year. And everybody thought, wow, this guy's going to be a 20-goal scorer. What was he working on down here? What do you think maybe some of the struggles are to get back to that level?
I think sometimes it can be, when you come in and you have that first opportunity, you're out over the boards first. So, you have that real confidence. And then that second year, it kind of plays on you a little bit. You see it happen so often with players where they come in and they almost get a sense that they've already kind of arrived a little bit, or they're they feel real comfortable too early sometimes. And I feel like, that can kind of play against you sometimes. And I think with him now, he's finding his game. I think he knows that he's capable of doing it. He's capable of fulfilling a role away from scoring. So that gives him great value to be on the team. And then, now it's just taking that next step and being put in those positions. Also, I think, a lot of times, unfortunately, your lineup is deeper than it is other years. And, maybe this is a good opportunity for him to jump up in the lineup.
Who's next? You guys.
I was waiting for your ad read. I thought we were going to get through this, but
no.
Speaking of ads,
Leah's like, no.
Before we go any further, ad reads. By the way, whoever set up this shot, I know if people listening on audio tomorrow, you won't see this, but I'm sitting right next to the Roadrunner head coach, Steve Potvin. This is like an ad in the back of the magazines of the before and after the guys go to the gym. Here I am sitting. We've got the similar beards, but come on, you have to set me next to him. Really?
That's funny.
That's funny.
God. I don't know. His beard is better groomed than yours. He got a tan. He looks more fit. I don't know.
Tan, more fit. Look at the suit. Good God. If somebody should have warned me ahead of time.
Oh, my
God.
gosh.
I sat over here, buddy.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we get more into today's game and the preseason so far and camp so far, this has been a fun experience for me. I'm a U of A grad. I talk about that all the time. So it's great to be back on the U of A's campus today. I was there a little bit earlier. Last night I was at an ASU football game, which felt wrong in every single way. But I had a lot of fun because we had a tailgate at Four Peaks, and it was so much fun. The most intense Jenga game I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It must have lasted an hour. I'm not even exaggerating. Sean took part in that. I think Tourigny ended up being the one to make it fall down. Yep. We played cornhole. It was so much fun. We're actually going to be back at Four Peaks this coming Wednesday.
Yeah.
For our last Wednesdays. So join us this Wednesday for our monthly Four Peaks Wednesdays. $3 kilt lifter and wow pints. It's like they thought of you exactly.
Literally did it for us.
When you mention you're with PHNX when you come down. So take the day off or work from home.
Yeah.
At Four Peaks.
They have Wi-Fi.
They have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You must be 21 or older to drink and enjoy responsibly, but not to come down to Four Peaks.
And do we have a guest that day?
We do. Greg Powers, the Arizona State hockey coach,
Getting ready for the
joining
SU
us,
season.
and I think we're supposed to have a beer ready for him when he arrives.
Absolutely.
I think that was the arrangement.
that was the arrangement. Well, Coach Potvin, again, thank you so much for joining us. We just watched a hockey game. You were there, so what are your initial takeaways from today's game?
Yeah, you guys spoke about it earlier. Just the brand of hockey that we're trying to get to. You can see it out there in spurts. We've got a lot more size, a lot more grit, and honestly, we're going to be a hard team to play against. I think teams are going to be fully aware of what to expect when they come to Phoenix. I love the brand of hockey, and you talked about Kellerman. He just provides that steady game, but he's able to play real hard, and he's really able to play in those crucial minutes, I think, at the end of games, and get pucks out along the wall. And I think if you're going to need a goal, he might be effective around that blue paint.
Is there anybody today that jumped out and you said, yeah, he looked good? I know it's hard, and I'm going to temper this with they've been on the ice for 4 days. I mean, this has got a long way to go before opening night. Everybody's got a lot of strides to take here. But is there anybody, game one for most of them tonight, is there anybody that stood out that go, yeah, his game looked good?
Well, I really I liked our Tucson boys. I liked McCartney and I liked Carconi. They both showed some pace, and they're able to compete. They were there to make an impact in the game, and both of them did. I thought the first period, Benny really carried the pace and pushed our guys and drug our guys into a fight. I thought he was real effective.
I wanted to ask you, we'll hop around a little bit in this interview, but I wanted to ask you, when we know what the NHL coaches are looking for, and I know you're a part of that evaluation process as well, but you're also looking for your own team, and you probably know some of the guys that are coming, but then there are those guys on the bubble. How do you scout all of this, and how do you plan for what's coming when you don't even know what the full camp is going to look like yet?
Yeah, I guess you have an idea of who you're going to start with, and there are some uncertainties, but we've been through the process so often. I think we're patient and really we're ready to adapt and ready for any of the circumstances that kind of come our way. We've got a looks like either way, whoever makes it or doesn't make it, we are going to be a lot deeper, and I think we're going to be stronger in goal, and I think we're going to really push to get into the playoffs this year. So,
and you talked about the guys that were on your team last. You talked McCartney and Carconi specifically, and I thought McCartney, you're right, he was around it. Like he had the puck, he possessed in the offensive zone, and it's one of those things where you're not into your full game rhythm yet. That puck just bounces off your stick. You don't quite get the shot you want. Those little things take time.
100%. I think sometimes when you're not getting to those areas, you're not getting the puck touches, it could be a lot more frustrating. So just as you said, you're getting those chances. You're able to actually keep up with the speed of the game, but you're also able to push the pace of the game. I think that's a real benefit, and sometimes young guys don't really have that in them where they can actually keep up with the pace of the game. That's what I saw from Ben, and you're right. It's going to take a few more games to get seasoned, but I think for him this was a good start.
Do you feel like in some ways he's just building off what he did last year, and what are those small pieces you've talking about some of this where he needs to take strides in certain areas to maybe push for an NHL spot?
Yeah, Petey said it. I think to earn trust, you've got to really be able to manage the puck well, and I think right now he's able to get on the pucks. He's able to create that space and really drive to the net. But, now just managing the puck and connecting on his plays is his next part that he just needs to, shore up. And I think he'll be able to play and take that next step.
Can we talk about Carconi?
Yeah.
Okay,
How about him waving through the crowd?
It's a slap shot?
Oh, my God.
I tell you what, he's a player I liked with Tucson last year, and he got a taste to play in the NHL last year. He's a guy that works incredibly hard. He's a smart hockey player. Like, he's got a pretty high hockey IQ. But he got a fight tonight. Yeah. And not only is he getting the fight, he gave the old wave to the crowd. They got the Tucson crowd on their feet. Tell us a little about what kind of a player he is and what fans, both in Tucson and in Phoenix, can expect to see out of Michael Carconi.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't expect that from him. He had a 25-goal season last year, which is a Tucson record. So you wouldn't really anticipating him throwing the gloves tonight. But we've seen him do it at our level before. And yeah, he's one of those guys, when he's challenged, he's not afraid, and what I like about him is he's got that art of war. He's not going to wait. If he sees an opportunity and they're asking, he's already dropped his gloves and he's trying to get the upper hand right away. So it was good to see him get involved. Obviously we didn't like getting down on the penalty minutes that way, but from a coach's perspective, that's how we feel. But from a fan and when we're actually looking at it from a standpoint of this is preseason and you want guys to actually try to, I would rather see that type of energy and trying to do what he can to make himself noticed than the opposite of trying to have guys really ask for more from them. And, tonight he tried to make an impact, and he did.
Yeah, what I see from him, and I see even last year when we talked to him after one of the games where we came down to Tucson, he's a leader. Like, he's a really confident, he's an intelligent guy, and I think for your room, hey, we don't know how this roster is going to shape out. I don't know if he ends up in Phoenix or here, but if he does end up as a Roadrunner, he's a guy that you look across the board of the guys on these rosters, you're going to have some strong leadership guys that have been around both the American League and some guys that have played a little bit in the National Hockey League. So you're going to have a really good locker room veteran core to start. Yeah,
I agree. I think with Michael playing in the NHL last year really boosted his confidence, and I think it really, his voice now carries a little deeper in the locker room. I think he had to go through the process for a longer period than he wanted to, and so I think he's able to relay that message to the guys. And, we've got a Cracknell's 37 years old, and he's showing really nowhere. He's wearing it like he's a young man. And so having those two guys in the locker room, if that does happen, will definitely be our benefit. And, they're going to hopefully be an extension of our voice. And it's definitely needed and necessary at the American Hockey League level.
Playing off of that, Steve, when you look at this roster, and I know you guys were decimated by call-ups last year. There were so many injuries in this organization, but if there's a relatively healthy season and knowing the personnel now, I don't know, what are your expectations for what this team might be able to accomplish with maybe some more additions on the back end, some more experience there, like you talked about, a guy like Cracknell who can provide more leadership? What are the possibilities for Tucson this season?
Well, we made some real good additions. And Clark, both are Slovenian kids that are or Slovakian kids that are, they're seasoned. They're exempt vets. They're guys that are coming in and although it's their first time in North America, they've been in the locker room before and they've competed before and they know what it takes to get to that next level. And so I think that's going to be very impactful for us. But our expectations are to get to this team to the playoffs. We want our young guys to experience that, and honestly it needs to be part of our culture again. So I know coaches will always stand up here and say, hey, this is our goal, but we have to make it our goal this year to get to the playoffs, to give these guys some meaningful experiences, some meaningful games, and make sure that they're ready to build on the culture that we've already set. So we've just got to take it to another level.
Absolutely. We're talking to Tucson Roadrunners head coach Steve Potvin right now. We mentioned we're going to be talking to ASU head coach Greg Powers this week. So we're covering all of our head coach bases. And let us not forget André Tourigny, who we also spoke to before the game. So I would say we send it over to what André Tourigny had to say before today's game.
All right, I'm here with Coyotes coach André Tourigny. We're down in Tucson, of course, for tonight's preseason game against the Anaheim Ducks. André, before we get to the game, I wanted to ask you just a little bit about a game that nobody got to see. How important, first of all, was it to get Barrett Hayton signed so that he could be there for day one of camp and be ready for games like last night?
Well, the history say the guys who miss training camp, they don't have a great season. That's the history of the league. There's exceptions for sure, but there's a lot of guys who miss training camp who did not have a great season. So for sure, as a coach, we want our player to be ready for camps and get the chemistry with everybody and see what you got in special team and a lot of things you want to get in place for the season. So we want to have a good start. So we need a good training camp. We need to keep building our culture. So we believe Barrett is a key player for us. He's a key member for us, an important center who I trust in every situation. So for sure, as a coach, I wanted him right from the beginning.
We saw the stat sheet last night, 3 points, but what did you see on the ice from Barrett last night?
He got better during the game. At the beginning of the game, he was either nervous or the puck was bouncing everywhere on his stick, and he got better, got his first goal, really good pass from Cass, and from there was confident and started to make really good play, and I think it's just a step in the right direction for him.
We are here in the Coyotes AHL building down in Tucson, home of the Roadrunners, of course. I know you have some probably fondness for settings like this from your CHL days, and whether it was the Q or the O, sort of atmosphere.
You know, what's good in every building is the crowd. You know, that's when the crowd is into it, it can be a 2,500 or a 20,000 seats. It depends upon how's the crowd. So when the crowd's into it, it's fun to play hockey. It's a sport of intensity and emotion. It's a physical sport. So when the crowd is into it, it's so fun.
What are you looking for from your team tonight? What are the things you're hoping to see?
Yeah, you know, it's almost a split squad. Only 2 players play yesterday who played today, but we want to see progression. Yesterday, at the beginning, the first couple of shifts, it was a little bit scrambly, and then we got better during the game. We had a progression. We were much better in our zone. Our neutral zone got better. Special team got better. So it's a little bit the same pattern today, but the most important thing for us is our identity, is our culture. We want to see the effort. We want to be relentless. We want to be tough. Those are the kind of things that's important for us.
All right, André, thanks for taking some time before this game. All right, André Tourigny just talked about progression. We've talked about that a lot with you, and I think a lot of people that are down here in Tucson are going to see some of the fruits of the draft come through here first. We've talked about your role down here and the importance of Tucson to the development of this program, this entire franchise. But I'm curious, as you're starting to see some of these guys come through, are you getting a sense maybe of the future, Steve, with some of these players?
Yeah, we're definitely getting a sense. You know, we're seeing a lot of good talent, and honestly, the message is very clear. We want to be a team that's able to compete first. You know, that's, of course, we care about the skill and how guys are developing in that aspect, but first and foremost, the compete is what I like seeing out of these guys. And, we want those guys that can actually be drivers of the game, that really set the tone for what we're looking for. We want teams to know that they're in a fight every night, and so honestly, we're getting a good sense of that. And when you have guys like Guenther, it's not all, just simply compete. We've got guys that can really play the game and score you some big goals. So I think if you get that element of compete, size, strength, and grit, and then you put it together with guys like Guenther and Geeky, it can be very special in years to come here.
You talked about culture as well, and I think the dream is what Tampa did with their AHL program, right? They all learned how to win together. They came up with the coach. How do you build that sort of? I mean, obviously everybody's trying to win, so it's not as simple as saying we want to put a good team out and we're going to win. But how do you build that sort of culture where you're ready to basically elevate the whole program to the next level?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's where the process comes in, and I know that's such a cliche, but I think a lot of times you try to hold guys accountable during games, and I think the biggest way to set a culture and a standard is to do it on a day-to-day process, and these guys have to understand what our expectations are day-to-day, and we're going to push to get them to another level. And to be honest with you, it's going to take a lot of trust on both sides, and I think the best way to earn that trust is sometimes to be vulnerable, be open, and really a lot of times, if you're able to get through to that next level and actually understand that it's not going to be free, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be something that you're going to be able to really fall back on when it's really hard, that you know that your brothers are going through the same process you are, and that it wasn't free for them either. I think that puts you in a position where you can trust him, he can trust you, and then now the culture is starting to be set. And so for us, it's really making sure that standard is high and it's applied and set every day.
But I think that's something interesting, because I'm as guilty as anybody. Last year, we sat on this show 1 year ago today, and we talked about, the Coyotes are rebuilding, but look out for those Roadrunners. They're good. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be this. And what we lost sight of is You can't control that down here. Like you can't control your lineup. You can't control your roster. You're giving guys, if your injuries up there, then it affects you down here. So what you said there, I think that's the takeaway for me is don't worry about where the Roadrunners are in the standings or in the playoffs. Are they learning to play Coyote hockey? Are they developing and going on the path? And are they getting that background in, hey, we got to play hard to win? Like, are they getting that background? So how do you look at it as the coach knowing, I don't know what my roster is today, tomorrow, and next week. I really don't. And how does that affect the way you coach these guys?
Well, yeah, that's just it. We're at the mercy of the call-ups and the injuries. And, the thing for us is that, we want to make this an environment where they know that they're going to get the best out of themselves. And, when we turn the attention back to them and control what we can control, then it's a success. And that's the most important thing, is that the environment is there and that they understand that we're going to be there alongside of them to take that next inch. And it's literally going to be sometimes just 1% a day. It comes from the All Blacks, the most winningest team in pro sports history, and their biggest motto was literally try to gain 1% every single day. Leave the jersey in a better spot than you had it the day before. And if you do that, I mean, there's no way you can lose.
All right, we've asked you enough about hockey now. We're down in Tucson. Leah spent a lot of time down. We've all spent a lot of time in Tucson, but we want to know what your spots are. I'm assuming you're going to maybe walk home, drive home. I'm not going to tell people where you live.
Or his address.
Right. You're going to head home to your apartment with that interesting fitted bed that you've got. Yeah. And what do you do when you're down here? When you don't have to, devote your entire life, which is pretty much what happens with a hockey coach anyway. What do you do away from the hockey rink?
You guys have asked me the questions about what do I do off the ice. Every time you ask me, I realize how boring I am. Like I want to give you something that's interesting, but I have zero.
Went to the museum. I was practicing my guitar out on the patio as I was preparing for my cooking class.
Exactly. I was creating a masterpiece in my balcony, but no, I have nothing. Honestly, I try to keep it as tight as possible. I enjoy my gym time. I enjoy some time reading, and that's, again, the least interesting thing in the world.
What about food spots here? Because, there's a lot of people here. It's about dinner time. When our show wraps up, we're probably going to head to dinner. Any recommendations?
Chef Elisa. There's a nice Yugoslavian place that it's...
wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
not
had...
expect you to go there. Okay.
Yugoslavia.
Tell us about this place.
Well, you know what? It's where my wife is from. She's Yugoslavian, and so we're always on the lookout for food that's that we're obviously close to, and we found a place called Chef Elisa, and it's every time we go, it just feels like it's an extension of our yard and kitchen. Yeah,
underrated. Tucson is a phenomenal
great food city,
like unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I've tried like 12 restaurants in the last 24 hours because I've been down here for that long. So all good. Yeah. All good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Coach Potvin, thank you so much for joining us. Seriously, for coming down, hanging out with us. Great talking to you as always.
Appreciate hanging out with you guys.
Welcome back anytime.
Honestly, this is fun being in Tucson this time. This is great.
It's fun for us too.
Yeah, make this a tradition.
We are coming down.
We'll
once
come
you start
down.
Playing. We are going to come down. We did it last year.
We did it last year. It was so fun.
Love it here. We love coming down and wish you the best of luck. And thanks for everything you do for us.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
I know. On the audio, you didn't see it. So
I'll get you a copy of Petey's contract so you know what it looks like. About signing out.
He'll bump me out so fast.
I love it.
All right,
Thanks,
Coach Hoffman, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
As a reminder, the upcoming schedule for the Coyotes on the road here for the preseason. We got Tulsa next, Anaheim, Vegas, Vancouver, Boise. This is just the start. We have Wichita and Tucson down, crossed off the list. The next preseason game will be the 27th in Tulsa. 28th, the 4th, the 7th, the 8th. We actually met some people who are going up to Vancouver for the game there.
The games, yeah. So, they were here for a minute. Were they here?
Oh, yeah, they're still here. They're in the back.
Bill's back here.
Yeah,
they're going to Vancouver to watch games.
Yeah,
good spot.
So
good choice.
Crazy schedule. And for those, I know the games haven't been aired. There have been some radio feeds. I know people have been catching that. let's just quickly touch on Saturday's game because we haven't talked about that. The Coyotes lost to the Blues 5-4 again. HK for the score. It doesn't really matter. Barrett Hayton, a goal and 2 assists. You asked Coach Tourigny about Hayton, but great performance from Barrett in his first preseason game of the season.
I have said this already, so it's not like I'm going out on a limb. I could be wrong. But Barrett Hayton is my pick for the breakout player on this team this season. And when the contract negotiations kept stalling, I was like, well, it's not looking like such a good prediction right now. And obviously a lot has to happen still. But did you see him? Did you see what he looks like now?
Yeah.
He's trimmed down. He looks fantastic. And André was saying it too. He looks incredible on the ice. He looks quicker on the ice. He did a lot of good things last season anyway, away from the puck. All those other details that you look for. He's that complete 200-foot player. You're just looking for the bump in offense. So maybe this is the season that Barrett Hayton takes a step forward. Now, the personnel around him are going to impact that. We know that this is not the most skilled roster in the NHL, certainly. But you don't need to see him. Barrett Hayton doesn't need to become a point-per-game player. He just needs to take those incremental leaps, maybe take a little step up in production here, and you can start to see it.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this already, about his differences and what he did in the offseason a couple of years ago versus this year. A couple of years ago was get on as much weight as I can, get as big as I can, get as strong as I can, and honestly, came in a little heavy. Yeah. And I don't think that fit the kind of game that Barrett Hayton needs to play. So him losing a little bit of the weight makes him a little bit speedier and quicker on the ice. Yeah, we've talked about where he slots in this lineup. If he starts in the 3-hole and he's a 3 center for this team right now, you're going to play with some pretty big and strong and tough guys.
Yep.
And they're going to get pucks to the net. I agree with you. I see a breakout season. There were moments last year. Remember when Barrett Hayton goes coast to coast?
Yes.
And
oh my God, that one where he slid on the ice after.
One of the best goals of the year. We just need to see him
too.
be consistent.
Yeah.
We need to see him play more. We need to see him not get hurt. So maybe with a little bit more meat around him, and he's got some bigger guys, stronger guys, maybe he doesn't have to be and think he has to be that physical guy in the corners and digging pucks out. We talked also about him being there for day one of camp and how close he was.
Coach Tourigny mentioned that
not
too.
Being there.
Yeah, that historically people who aren't at the full camp, it impacts their season.
Yeah, and it hurts to start. Yeah. Well, look at this. He's there day one of practice, and he gets 3 points.
Yep.
It's a great start for Barrett Hayton. And I know, I don't want to overstate training camp. It's training camp. I get it. But what you look for is you look for little wins and little victories and little individual personal performances.
That's what we look for as Coyotes.
Yeah, I know.
Little victories.
1 through 82.
It's the little things.
What do you call your bets?
Weenie
my
bets.
weenie bets. It's
weenie
my
steps.
Weenie bets. Oh, I know. And I was thinking, too bad you can't put money on Barrett Hayton to be the breakout player of the year.
King of the game.
Yeah, king of the game. Christian Fischer probably would have been king of the game today.
Probably today.
Right?
Especially
if we were
because
doing
he came
that.
on our show.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again to Christian Fischer, who would have been our DraftKings king of the game if we were giving that out. I did win a weenie bet today. When I got here, I placed my bets.
We're just calling them that now.
Yeah,
right?
Cooper Cup,
it's
anytime
a weenie bet.
touchdown
It's not
score.
Leah's weenie bet. It's just
easy.
We won
Cash
a weenie bet today.
Cash it. You also can win money on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. And if that's not enough, everyone, not just new customers, can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Right now, for every leg you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100% with payouts bigger than ever. Why bet on football anywhere else? To make it even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped-up game parlays once per game day all season long. I love doing the same game parlays. I love doing the ones that DraftKings makes for you because then you don't have to make decisions because as I've said on this show again and again, I can be very indecisive. So I like when it's just there for me. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code PHNX. That's code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Any other takeaways?
Well, I think when people watch preseason games, and unfortunately a lot of people couldn't watch because when it wasn't on TV, they can listen to Bob Heathouse make the call of the game with Lindsey Fry. But I think they want to say who looked good. Who did you like? Who do you think looked good today? And we talked about Barrett Hayton last night, so I think Barrett Hayton was the guy last night. I think that Fisher, O'Brien, McBain line looked good. I think they got pucks to the net. They got to the net hard. But I'm going to bring out my bromance again.
Oh, Nick Bjugstad?
Nick Bjugstad.
Petey, you don't understand. Petey is obsessed.
Does have a man crush on Nick Bjugstad.
But again, though, I liked. He had opportunities in this game. He had a good look, shorthanded. I thought he skated well. He's a big body guy that gets up and down the ice. I'm I'm a fan.
You know what else? He's a Minnesota guy.
He is?
Yeah, there must be something.
Seriously? He is?
There must be something to that. Like how twins have a connection. If you're from Minnesota,
Didn't
you
know
just.
that.
Apparently, they're all tied. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of ties, and Sean isn't on a mic right now, but we saw so many Buffalo Bills jerseys inside Tucson Arena today. Just saying.
I don't think we want to talk about
No, we don't want to talk about the Bills.
No, we won't.
The
Carry
last
on.
couple of players I want to talk about is Connor Geekie. He's a guy I was looking forward to seeing. Unfortunately, he played last night. And I think for a kid in his situation, he's been to rookie camp. Now he's in main camp. Like, this is a grinding schedule for him. And he played in Wichita last night. There were moments that I thought, okay, I see it. Like, you could see it. Like, he was trying to be physical. He was good on the puck. I just think he was tired.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to judge his entire performance or his training camp on what I saw from him tonight.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing
The
more
other
from
thing
him.
we should mention before we get off here, the goaltending. It's early. But right now, the goaltending isn't up to snuff for the Coyotes. They need to do better. Even Karel Vemelka tonight didn't look sharp. It's the first game. We're not gonna make too big a deal of that. But the goaltending needs to take a step up. And I still don't think that the backup goalie is here in camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that, though. Of all of the positions, the hardest to play your first game in over 4 months is in the net. I think if you're a forward, I can skate a little faster, I can hit a little harder. And a goalie, you either stop the puck or you don't.
You need reps.
You need reps.
Game
so
reps.
I'm not. I am. I
Yeah,
said it all
a cerebral position as well, as
for sure.
we know.
It's smartest guys.
Can I just say something earlier? I was going, it was pregame. They hadn't opened the doors yet to the fans. And I was going to take a picture of the ice. And Karel Vemelka was
my goodness.
walking up. But I didn't know if he was walking to go stand in the doorway or if he was just going to the side. So I was like, I literally froze and I was like, I'm so sorry.
You're
Like, I don't mean to block you. So if Karel Vemelka had a bad game, that's on me.
It's on you.
Because I threw off his
Just say it
whatever
might be.
routine he had going on.
So blame Leah.
And last night too, Gillies stopped 9 of 12. Prosvetov stopped 11 of 13. So
I'll be more worried about it when we get to the end of this preseason schedule. The last
Yeah.
2 games are the ones I'm going to go, okay, these guys better be starting to dial in. Because right now, it's okay. I'm so fine. He played 2 periods. He knew he was only playing 2 periods. I'll give him a free pass until we get to that last 2 games.
absolutely. We mentioned it at the top, but we had so much fun meeting so many people today. We did a meetup. First of all, sorry to those who missed the group photo.
Yeah, like
I know,
CWP
I know.
missed the picture.
I know some people. Sorry.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
but there were more people here than were in this photo, but this is our group photo from the PHNX Coyotes meetup. Again, thank you to everybody. Some people we met.
There's Nick right there.
Yep, we met people for the first time. We met people for the 10th time. If you're a listener of the show and you want to come to any of our events, seriously, we have so much fun with you all. It's amazing talking to people in person. It's great talking hockey. It's great putting faces to names. So we really appreciate every single person.
You look
so
at the stuff in the
much.
background. We got the Coyotes going all over. We got the matching Coyotes.
Oh my God!
I know.
Don't look, Craig. Don't look.
They got the ketchup
They got the
going.
ketchup.
They got the
They're
ketchup
holding
going.
up. They're tauntingly
They're
holding up
taunting
bottles
Craig
of
with
ketchup.
the ketchup.
I hope you enjoyed your last appearance on the show.
Oh my
Nick
gosh!
will be getting banned for the rest of the year.
If you're not a member of Go PHNX, please sign up today. Join our members only Discord. We had so much fun chatting in there. I think the majority of the people we met today are members of the Discord. So again, if you're listening now and you're not yet a member, become a member, and you get access to that Discord, access to all of Craig's phenomenal stories on the website, and all the great stories from all the talented writers here at PHNX. So if you love other Arizona sports teams, we got it literally all covered for you. And you can get this shirt from the PHNX locker. We were talking to people all day who buy stuff from our locker. So check it out, phnxlocker.com.
Certain people.
Yes, certain people. We won't
saying.
disclose on air, but there are certain people
Just
that
saying.
use the
And I
PHNX
know I
locker.
talked to a lot of people today who, this is the game that they knew for sure that they could see because the tickets were more affordable. I know we've talked about the ticket prices at Mullet Arena. It's not the same as it was at Gila River. There's no upper deck. There's no upper level pricing. So totally understand that part of it. But I have checked the Game Time app, and I swear I stand by this wholeheartedly. I stand by this, and I was telling people today off air, check out the Game Time app because if you want to head to a Coyotes game this season, that's the place to check it out. The more last minute you look, also, the cheaper the tickets are, which is funny because normally when you wait on things, they're more expensive, but they're actually not. So check out Game Time. It's the cheapest you're going to find Coyotes tickets anywhere. You can save up to 60% when you buy last minute. Great for the procrastinators out there. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in our description on YouTube. Scroll down. On audio, scroll down. The link is there. Buy your tickets that way. Also got Cardinals games. No more D-backs home games, though, but Cardinals is still, and Suns is coming up, too. So lots of ways to enjoy the Game Time app. And if you're here listening right now, this is a call to the people at the DoubleTree,
Charles,
Tucson downtown.
CWP.
Come stand behind us. We're going to do a wave for the end of the show. If you're here, everybody come. Again, special shout out to DoubleTree Tucson Downtown Convention Center for
Thanks
hosting us, for all of their help. Seriously, we appreciate them so much. Everybody, duck down, say hi. Here's everybody. Thank you again so much for coming out. Thank you for I'm trying to duck so everyone can be seen.
Get everybody in the shot.
Yeah, make sure everybody gets in. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube. We'll be live again at our usual time, 11 a.m. on Monday, talking Metro Division preview. So join us there. Follow us on sports on Twitter at PHNX_sports and follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. Again, thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the DoubleTree.
Sticking around for the whole show.
Yeah, we appreciate you all so much. We'll see everybody again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone.